buddy. Terribly sorry about that, little tech hiccup there. I actually was recording, and I had thought that perhaps Picarto was at least picking up the stream to save it, but apparently not. I was quite confident that the error was on Picarto's end. But, no it isn't. It was on me. I will be uploading what I recorded to YouTube. And if you check that out, which I highly recommend you do, you're gonna see that, well, we had a really strange thing happen. Literally a 1 in 36 chance. And I am declaring it not canon. So behold, this is Save Scum. Now, as I mentioned, before it was declared uncanon by tech problems in the universe, we recently rumbled some teenagers for their jackets, but we're not going to wear those jackets. We're going to wear all white. And we're going to go tell... Oh, you know what? Get rid of the flashlight as well while we're at it. That's better loadout. And you know what? Change out the tie, too. Where's my tie? Where's my horrific necktie? There you are, friend. Okay. Now, we, in addition to rumbling some teens, recently heard from Everard what his plans are, which is to say, not a strike, but a war. And we're gonna go tell Joyce about it. But first, we're about to smell something.
There it is again. There's a spectral scent haunting this pair, no doubt. And it smells like sea brine mostly, because it's a pair.
Indeed it is.
Years of turmoil, of hopes and dreams, ground beneath the inexorable tides of capital.
Close your eyes and take a deep breath.
What do you smell?
What do I smell?
The first thing that strikes you is the overwhelming brine. You imagine yourself underwater, 100-legged arthropod scuttling along the murky silt at the bottom of the sea.
I do like the interplay between perception and rhetoric here, each rejecting the conclusions of the other.
But then, the unmistakable reek of seagull shit hits you, buoyed along on the air currents, an acrid melody atop mouldering cords of wood rot and heavy fuel oil.
Still smelling for communist, detective?
I do love how Kim completely sees through it. What makes you say that, friend?
No offense, detective, but you're not particularly subtle.
The lieutenant's right. It's sort of amazing how unsubtly you're sniffing the air around you. Almost like you're trying to call attention to yourself. What the lieutenant thinks is irrelevant. Your politico-olfactory cortex is lighting up like a holiday display. The scent of communism is overwhelming, and it's coming right from that balcony over there.
You mean from Cindy?
Certainement. A precocious communist youth. A symbol of a kinder, more hopeful future. Now's your chance to establish contact with your revolutionary brothers and sisters.
Note, you don't actually have to be kind to be a symbol of kindness.
A chance to establish contact with the future. What a beautiful, terrible thought.
Leftists, communists of all sorts, like to present their way of thinking as futuristic, which is why they use the term progressive, correctly or not. Let's head up and talk to her one-on-one, rather than yelling upwards. Don't want Joyce to overhear. She might not approve.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
Hey, Piss Flaubert and Fuck the World send their best.
I don't believe it. I've never known those boys to have manners.
Well, they seem to hold you in high esteem.
They'll never be skulls, but their hearts are in the right place.
Skulls are cool. Can I be a skull?
Fat chance. But you can still do your part to revitalize the neighborhood.
Okay then, how's that?
She throws you a conspiratorial glance, then presses her finger to her lips and squints up at the sky, as though straining to hear something in the distance.
Have you noticed the quiet? Every so often, you might hear a gunshot pierce the air somewhere in Jamrock. But in Martinez, no gunshots, no sirens. The people are languishing in boredom and complacency.
We know there are guns scattered throughout Martinez, but I think it's the poverty. I mean, don't get me wrong, poverty and violent crime absolutely correlate, but what's the point in shooting someone if they have no money to take? Also, this may possibly be a clue, but we know the hanged man was actually shot, and Cindy evidently didn't hear that gunshot.
This place is a sepulchre. We'll paint it red. We bring the raucous. You bring the sirens.
She's making a valiant effort to come off as a nihilist, but she's really just an angry little commie. No wonder she was talking about the streets flowing red. That's what happened during the revolution.
In certain segments of the particularly online punditocracy, the term is tanky. Someone who believes in communism or some allied political belief and thinks that violence is not only acceptable as a means of achieving that goal, but perhaps inevitable, if not on theme with communism. And that's one of the weirder things about the way this game talks about communism, particularly when you consider that it was made by communists. It not only says that communism is failure, perhaps predestined to failure, but also that it's inherently violent. You'll remember when we first opted into the communist thought, we had this idea of the sausage grinder, get the firing squads and the animal wagons. A kinder, more progressive future, at least according to rhetoric here, is not possible without hurting a whole lot of folks to get there. And it seems like Cindy agrees. So tell me, what's it like being a skull and a communist?
You got me, pig shit. I don't make for a very good skull. I like animals too much. Simians and pigs.
Maybe she is a kind person after all. I mean, to be fair, when you're all alone, living in a coal room, your only defense is violent graffiti and violent, well, rhetoric? Yeah, I can understand. Talking a big game, because underneath that puffy coat, she's a arguably homeless teen girl and extremely vulnerable. And that is no doubt why she embraced being a skull, even if in her heart of hearts, she believes in a better world. That's my interpretation anyway. You're welcome to disagree.
But I'm still gonna write some damn good graffiti-o on this wall.
Her voice sounds different when she speaks this candidly. Older somehow.
Cindy, I'm gonna need your paintbrush.
What for?
We've got 3 lies here, but we're gonna tell the truth. For art. It's for art, okay?
Well, if it's for art. But what kind of art are we talking about?
So our options are, to be honest, I haven't really thought of anything yet, but I'm sure I will. Everything is sad and shit and we need art to make it okay, just give me the brush. Or grand art, art deluxe, the artsiest, most groundbreaking, the... Now the ellipsis indicates that presumably we're about to get interrupted. And I feel like letting Cindy say her piece, so we're gonna pick the option that lets her cut us off.
Let me stop you right there, Piggy.
Okay?
You have no idea, do you? No idea. No brush? Fuck off.
Yeah, she's willing to invest in art, but only if we have art to make. Crush man's dreams like that, I hope you're happy.
There, Piggy. I guess art just isn't really you. 'Cause you suck in life and in everything.
Okay. There we go. So, we have a 97% chance here, which is to say, we only fail this on the incredibly improbable roll of double ones. We get a bonus because we know she's a communist, we get a bonus because we know that she lives in a coal room, and we get a bonus because we know she takes Pyrrolidon. Worth a shot.
You don't have the skills to execute something like this in practice. But, oh boy, the idea's going to blow her fucking mind.
I'm going to create a highly detailed skeleton of an ancient bird that went extinct 100 million years ago.
She squints her eyes.
And then I'm gonna paint it red, using heavy fuel oil. And then I'm gonna fucking light it on fire. How's that for chaos? How's that for sirens?
On fire.
It's the Phoenix, get it? What do you say?
I say, sod off. You don't have the technical skills to do that.
So our options are, I thought you'd like my idea. I mean, we succeeded on the check after all. Or, what's your problem? Or, I'm sorry, was the image offensive? Did you survive an avian attack as a child? I thought you'd like my idea.
I like your idea. Should have thought of it myself. I don't need this kind of competition in my neighborhood.
That's the artist's perennial struggle. Hearing someone else's good idea, and now it can't ever be your idea. Damn, it was too strong. But, Cindy, art is bigger than either of us.
Then get your brush from fucking art.
Oops, my apologies. I guess I was trying too hard. You're a police officer and a grown-up. Why are you trying to impress her? Maybe try a different approach.
Authority, in most other playthroughs, would be chiming in more often and telling us to bully the populace. This? Oh, we almost missed this one. This is a bad idea. Let's do it anyway. I gotcha cornered. Hand over the brush.
Ooh, police brutality. That's the good stuff.
It's what you wanted, isn't it? Stand your ground with a look of weary determination. Cindy, I'm going to stand here until you hand over that paintbrush.
Have you got any kids? Because you sound like the world's saddest dad right now.
We are in a Schrodinger's sort of scenario of not knowing whether we do or don't have kids. And that question will be answered before the end of this game.
But fine, take the brush. I'm all out of fuel oil anyway.
She drops the paintbrush at your feet. Believe it or not, this is what success looks like.
You know what you've got in that fuel canister you scavenged from your Kanema? Red-dyed heavy fuel oil. Time to get to proper work, artiste.
Yep, we can do this. Anyway, we're working on our communism. It arguably is a bad time after we've just bullied her out of her art tools, but game doesn't care. Hey sister, let's talk politics for a minute.
And what do you know about politics?
She squints at you suspiciously. So her options are, I'm looking for comrades to help me fire up the great Mazovian sausage grinder. Will you help me? Seems like the sort of thing that would appeal to her. One of the union guys said there's someone trying to organize an underground revolutionary cell. You know, I know deep down that you bleed white. You're a communist, Cindy, admit it. Or, I'm searching for a bunch of mole people. I think she'll like this one.
The girl erupts in a cackle that seems like it should belong to a much older woman.
Oh, that's very nice. The little piggy wants to make sausages. Out of what? His little piggy friends?
No, out of the bourgeoisie. That's what we need to talk about. I don't know who I'm supposed to be making sausages out of. Turn to Kim. Don't worry, Kim. I would never make you into a sausage. Or, that's right, I'm gonna make juicy sausage links out of the entire 41st precinct. Hey, don't worry, Kim. When the revolution comes, you'll be last against the wall.
It was not a concern of mine.
The lieutenant blinks once.
Sure. I know someone who'd love to talk that ideological stuff. You're looking for Steban.
Who's Steban?
A right communist who runs a mega cool and very secret meeting.
Does this Steban happen to go around in a jacket like the one I'm wearing? That I broke his door lock and stole from his apartment?
He might.
Will you help me find him?
No.
The lieutenant let slip a sigh that seems to suggest this turn was utterly predictable.
So our options are, come on, Cindy, one communist to another, help me out. Is it money you want? Here, take some. I've got plenty. Offer her 5 real. I think A, 5 real is insulting, and B, obviously not what she wants. I guess I should just give up then. Nothing ever works out for me. Or just tell me what you want me to do. Let's tug at her heartstrings.
Oh, God. If he isn't the saddest pig in the world.
Incidentally, The Saddest Pig in the World is the title of a popular Gottwaldian children's book, written and illustrated by Moritz Metzger. In 1926, it received the prestigious Kritiker Prize for Youth Literature.
Well, we don't know whether or not we have kids, but for whatever reason, we know what a quality kids book is.
Oh, fine. I'll help. But first, I want something from you.
What's that?
A wicked grin extends across her face, a laughing skull. Death hilarious. This is gonna be bad.
Oink for me, piggy. Just once.
So he'd say, I'm not oinking for you. Come on, this is no way to treat your revolutionary brother. Or with gusto. Oink, oink. I think she would like us to have some dignity. This is no way to treat your revolutionary brother.
Wrong! This is exactly how I treat my little brother.
I'm not oinking for you.
Be a good pig now. No oink, no goods.
Through gritted teeth. Oink.
Well, well. Seems like we're dealing with one tough pig. I'm impressed.
Yes, somehow you managed to oink with at least a modicum of dignity.
Had to refuse a couple of times first.
The lieutenant, needless to say, is not impressed.
Sounds like you're really serious about meeting Steban. It's touching, sort of. Steban's group meets only at night, in an old room in these apartments here. It just so happens you're in luck. Their weekly meeting is tonight. Poke your snout around sometime after 10 p.m. and you might just find them.
Now, we already have a late night date. You might recall, we're gonna confront the crazy lady who calls herself the Pigs after 10 p.m. to get our gun back. Hopefully. So, hopefully we can do that, not be shot with our own weapon, and come back in time to join up for communism. What else can you tell me about this Steban?
Just that he's a real communist. Not like the play acting you've been doing. The rest, you'll have to see for yourself.
Yep. What we see of Steban will be what a real communist is. Again, at least according to the makers of this game. Why do I feel like there's a catch?
Oh, smart pig. Because there is. See, Steban's a bit on the paranoid side. He's got all these mega secret passphrases to keep out infiltrators and the like. You can't join the meeting without one.
Given what happened to the communists the first time around, that seems pretty pragmatic. The lieutenant clears his throat.
Not to interfere in your personal errand, but I wonder whether it might have something to do with that phrase Mañana mentioned overhearing.
What phrase?
Remember Dobreva and Abadanais.
Oh, right. Good thinking, Kim.
The lieutenant nods.
Guess this is what happens when two pigs put their heads together.
She seems slightly disappointed.
That's enough. Off with you then.
She makes a lazy shooing motion with her dangling hand. All right. Catch you later, Cindy. Okay. So we are going to talk to Joyce, like I mentioned. But first, we got the paintbrush, we got the fuel oil. Let's go deface some public property. Or possibly private property. I'm not sure. Anyway, we're going to deface it. And fortunately, we don't have to go very far.
The paintbrush in your hand is like a loaded revolver. What will it be, Desperado? Quite a few things come to mind.
Now, believe it or not, like I said, this particular little alleyway is very important. It's a matter of angles. So we can say, fuck the police. Seems self-deprecating if nothing else. It is on brand for graffiti we've seen around town. Mother of all walls. We do love this wall, but that doesn't seem like a particularly important message. What shadow lies there beneath the bright gleam? A dire warning. Draw a 3,500-year-old pictogram of a human being? I don't think so. No parking. No one's parking here anyway. I'm gonna go with this option. Because it's true. Something beautiful is going to happen. Although, a whole lot of ugly's gotta happen first. En garde.
You've spoken. The wall will now silently repeat the message for a decade or so, until the sea air degrades the paint, adding another layer of detritus to the city.
I should mention, we know that a lot of the aereo graffitio in this town, the big stuff, is done facing up, intended to be read by the Coalition Aerostatics. I'm not sure if this one can be. There's a slight overhang. Nevertheless, someone somewhere will see it. And maybe it will give them some hope. Because, like I said, it is true.
Very poetic. Real poetry. Should we return to our murder investigation? I hear there's a really bad one we are supposed to solve.
Kim, as ever, no appreciation for beauty. Unless it's a machine, which this is not. I don't believe we can give Cindy back her paintbrush. Oh, no. No, it's not actually in our list of tools. Oh, anyway. Now we'll go talk to Joyce. Before we were so rudely interrupted. Hi, you want to hear what Everard has planned?
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Oh. It's not an option yet. But this is. Since we've done her bidding and investigated the drug trade, and moreover discovered that it is in some way associated with the crime we're already investigating, now can you tell me about these tattoos?
Of course. Excuse my hesitation before.
She reaches over the guard wire and takes the photo, holds it in her hand.
For about half a minute, in silence. She wears fingerless gloves. Her fingernails are cut short and fractured, like those of a working woman.
Yeah, she may be wealthy, but she gets her hands dirty.
It was taken with a trigette not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs.
Stay quiet. Observe the woman's expression.
Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface.
What do you think?
Sorry. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points. The stars.
She points to one on the photo paper.
I can't. But that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent.
Say nothing.
Port cities. On the oceans. This is an Oronese map of the waterways, a sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the DeLorean century. As early as 300 years ago, the sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels.
You will remember the DeLorean century is when these people first began inter-esolary travel. What is the use of this map?
The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they would call it.
Where is he now?
Now this is an interesting question. I can say, this one is going nowhere but the morgue. I can say, I've spoken to him, for now the soul is fastened inside his corpse. This one has flown quite far by now, or nowhere. There is no soul. It's gonna make us sound even more insane than usual, but we will speak the truth. I've spoken to him. For now the soul is fastened inside his corpse. Communism killed him, and love did him in.
That is precisely what the sailors feared when they drew these maps. A fear of drowning within one's own corpse.
Truly, the worst kind of haunting. What travels did the dead man make?
Quite a few. Vredefort, the Oronese capital, traditionally stands on the right shoulder. He started somewhere near here, I think.
What next?
Then he made his way to the Pretto Grande, through what I think must be the Stutz Canal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Pretto, he sailed to the Insulindic Ocean, first the Semines Islands, then this.
She points to his heart. What is that?
Revachol. Those are the two constants. Redefort on the shoulder, and Revachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde, at the dawn of the Interinsulary Age.
The old world passing by, and the new world already here.
You said you can't read it.
I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning.
Vredefort? Vredefort has a military academy. The Seminoles Islands saw a recent conflict. In Revachol, he was executed.
Maybe it's a record of his military career.
That makes sense to me. We have no more use for a map of the waterways, just like we don't need sailors the way we used to. This is what the custom would morph into on the Occident. Mercenary tattoos.
For all the boys looking for adventure, a blood spatter on the seas.
Who could tell me more?
His platoon members? The other contractors. Though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. This man was their friend and comrade.
Surely there are other people to ask about the tattoo. This is not necessary to complete the task, officer. It's a dangerous side task. Search elsewhere.
I'm not going to do it, because, quite frankly, the dialogue is even more upsetting than usual for this game. But I want you to know that if we do talk to the strikebreaker at the gates, who we know is secretly the mercenary who's working on the tribunal, and we show him this photo, he will tell us one of the Colonel's war stories. And it's a real ugly one. The Hanged Man? Well, he was not a good person. I'm talking, like, really not a good person. Won't give you the details. You're welcome. You're right. Not a good idea.
I am relieved you think so. I don't think deciphering that tattoo should come before public security.
That's all for the tattoos. Thanks for your help.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
That's all for now. We evidently aren't going to talk to her about Everard just yet. That's strange. I could have sworn that it was at this point. Alright. So we do have a few things. Oh, want to get that orb. Orbs equals XP. Perception? Etched into the wood, barely visible. Remember the rest is lost to time. Like Dobrev. Oh, maybe something here. Gotta remember to highlight interactions. Huh? Absolutely did not need that. But, okay. You know what? While we're here, we got two options here. We want to try and get a war story from Renee, and we want to try and steal Gaston's sandwich. Let's go for the sandwich first. That's a rhetoric check, I believe. Gaston, unlike Cindy, is not a dedicated communist, but he is a communist of sorts. And thus it's only fitting that it be a rhetoric check. To take the bread from his mouth. Also, this is sort of a break the fourth wall thing. Ludonarrative dissonance, if you will. Do we seriously not have anything for rhetoric? We have nothing for rhetoric. At all. Wow. Oh, okay. No, that doesn't help either. Oh, okay. But yes. You're a lousy communist. I'm gonna take your sandwich that you have been eating for 4 straight
Pleasure to
days.
see you again, officer. How may I help the citizens' militia on this fine day?
Well, let's go through the other options first. You mentioned Jean-Marie Beaulieu. Who is that?
Oh, sweet Jenny. She was the finest woman in all of Revachol. Maybe the entire world.
Do not defile her memory, Gaston. Let her rest in peace.
So you both know her?
We knew her, all right. Lived on the same street our entire lives, just 2 houses apart. The 3 of us have been best friends since we were 4. She was René's first girl, back when the prick was 16. They were courting till he decided he'd rather die for some great ideal than just be happy.
And then you stole her from me.
He jerks forward, but then grabs his chest and stops. Easy, fellows. No need for this to get ugly.
Oh, officer. It already got ugly nearly 80 years ago when the 3 of us were just learning to walk and talk.
You stole her from me.
René repeats, trying to steady his breathing, still clutching his chest.
Well, technically, you stole her from me, because we'd been pretty close ever since you two had that falling out over the ink you spilled over her pretty yellow dress.
We were just boys then. This was different. You,
The tall veteran looks at you and nods.
no point starting this all over again. For the 1000th and the first time. Especially when we have company. Officer,
What happened to her?
She died of pneumonia 2 winters ago. It was a quiet passage, peaceful.
He smiles faintly.
René and I were both by her bedside when she...
He pauses, searching for the right word.
died. No use sugarcoating it. Won't bring her back. Will it now?
departed. Until the very end she couldn't decide between us. The most indecisive woman I've ever met.
Why do you think she was indecisive?
She could never make up her mind about anything. What to have for breakfast, favorite color, or which one of us to marry.
The look in his eyes is happy and distant.
She was always leaving one of us for the other, but never long enough to actually get married.
Well, that's a bit odd.
Heck, technically, we're both still engaged to her.
You always confused her. Couldn't let us be happy. So Justa with your fancy words and pastries.
He suddenly remembers you are still there, falls silent, and turns away.
Well, thanks for sharing.
Of course, officer. Memories are all we have left.
Worth a shot.
All right, this is how we're gonna do it.
I admire your handiwork, Schiff, but there's a few things I'd do differently.
Like what, officer? This is as good as they come in Revachol, I assure you.
An array of delicious recipes flashes through your mind. Salads, salmon, sandwiches, bingo.
For some reason, we have that stored.
This calls for an engineering angle. Structural rigidity, exposed rafters, lattice works, that type of approach.
The bread you built this wonder on. It could have been toasted beforehand.
That would certainly have been an improvement.
I'll do you one better. The air pocket between cheese and ham could house pre-roasted paprika.
Ce serait délicieux! Can you make that sandwich, officer?
Sure, but I'm gonna need yours as a prototype first.
I hope you are not just tricking an old man out of the little he has left.
He says solemnly and hands you his sandwich. So our options are: initial development takes time, of course, but in 6 to 9 months you will eat the sandwich of the gods. I win? Or don't worry about it. Give him a win. Both of these seem like they'll piss him off. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Sure. I'm not worried. We're here all the time, every day. Impossible to miss us, officer.
He looks worried.
Is there anything I can do for you right now? Maybe to speed the whole process up a bit?
Nope, by for now. Let's have a look at this sandwich. Beautiful, despite the fact that he's been eating it for 4 straight days. This might be the biggest sandwich you have ever seen. The size is almost intimidating, invoking feelings of inadequacy. Abundant in components, rich in both smell and taste, probably, this truly is the work of a master craftsman. As I said, there are 2 things that we actually eat in this game. Of course, Harry presumably is eating and going to the bathroom and doing a bunch of other things, you know, when he's off camera. But the 2 things we do get to eat are both pork products. Oink oink.
The ham sandwich looks fresh and nutritious in your hand, begging to be eaten.
We can say, step back everyone, it's gonna get messy. Here Kim, let's share. Or, I cannot be bought, throw the sandwich on the ground. Let's try and get some points with Kim. Here Kim, let's share.
I'll pass. Thanks.
What do you mean you'll pass?
I mean I'm not hungry, and therefore am not gonna take it. Thanks, though.
This isn't about hunger, Kim, it's about camaraderie.
Camaraderie?
Yes, by sharing this sandwich, you and I solidify the bond between us.
Is it really necessary?
So our options are, it really is. Is this necessary? Is friendship necessary? Is brotherhood? I just thought it would be a nice gesture, I'm sorry. Or, no, you're right, let's just drop it. We're gonna get melodramatic.
Okay. They are all necessary. Let's share the sandwich if it matters that much to you.
So we can say, this is good shit. Eat our half of the sandwich. For the brotherhood. Obviously, fascist, eat your half of the sandwich. Or, friends forever, eat your half of the sandwich. Or, just eat it in silence. Friends forever.
Sure. Time to go solve a murder investigation.
Nice. Okay, now, for Renee, we need composure. What do we have for composure? Anything? I know we have some stuff for composure. And I think there's also a conceptualization check in there. Okay.
Vigilance officer, what can this old carabiner do for you?
Oh, my mistake. It's drama. Well, we do have drama stuff. But before we do that, let's check out this other stuff. I understand Jean-Marie meant a lot to you?
There's nothing for you to understand here. It is not her death you are investigating.
Were the circumstances of her death in any sense unusual?
Absolutely not. She died of pneumonia in her bed at the age of 79. This is highly usual.
Well, unfortunately so. Where was the photo of you two taken?
Revival Fair of 91 in the Faubourg district. A parade was held to honor Guillaume Le Lion's name day, and the Carabineers marched in the place of honor.
You looked happy in the picture. Smiling.
This was the happiest day of my life.
This is said in such a matter-of-fact tone it leaves no room for doubt. This is why he's still a fascist, even now. It's maybe not the king or anything else like that. He just wants that day back. What happened with you, Gaston and Jean-Marie?
I was 22 when I returned from King Guillaume's Akira operation in the south and found my sweetheart in the arms of this wretch.
The Ikeda operation was a 7-year campaign, during which suzerain Guillaume's army forcefully united the people in the southeastern part of La Petite Continent, collectively known as the Ikeda tribes, under the Revacholian banner.
Little note for anyone who plans on being an emperor in the future. Forcefully uniting people? usually, inevitably, forcefully unites them against you. Just a heads up. You know, strat-wise.
I won her back. But while I was dealing with some issues,
You were like a dark cloud sucking the joy out of every living thing around you. And you hurt her.
Dark cloud. That sounds unpleasantly familiar.
Inland Empire, you will recall, is, among other things, the skill that wants but also fears our ex-wife. Perhaps this is part of what drove our ex-wife away. Too much darkness. That's what happens when you fight for Revachol.
I...
He looks down at his boots, lips moving, but the words are inaudible.
Those days and memories are gone.
He nods and looks at Renee with something resembling compassion.
The old soldier says nothing, but when his glance quickly runs over Gaston's face, there's an odd look in his eyes.
These two old friends have a connection. One that we will never sever. Well, not us anyway. This one's basically just making conversation, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So I saw the statue of Philippe III near the roundabout.
Ah, yes. King Philip III, on his steed. A reminder of what Revachol once was.
And a reminder that it got blown up, yes.
Oh, absolutely. At the mercy of a cocaine-snorting tyrant who emptied the treasury so he could sleep on a bed of gold.
A superpower, feared and respected. A testament to what this country can be under the leadership of a true king. Someone who knows how to rule.
How should a true king rule?
Decisively, without fear of offending the sensibilities of the frail and weak-minded among his subjects. This is something the insurgents never understood.
Seems to me a leader should take care of his people before himself.
Elysium is only as strong as its leader. That's why it was such madness to try to...
Don't get started on that again. What happened, happened.
There is some weariness in his voice now. He's heard this rant many times before.
The carabiner doesn't reply, but his entire being communicates unbreakable resolve.
So what was that about cocaine?
Oh, old Philip was a big fan of the purple nose candy the nobility loved so much. A cocaine connoisseur of sorts. His egocentricity is borderline legendary.
You can't even take responsibility for yourself. How could you fathom the responsibility weighing on the shoulders of a ruler?
He asks, obviously annoyed.
That's why the Philippian kings use cocaine. For clarity of vision. To aid in their work. Regnum cocainum. Revachol's finest years.
He seems to grow taller, brimming with pride about the past.
Of course. Clarity of vision. Awareness.
Philip III was even brought into this world with the help of cocaine. The court made him administer the dose to his mother when she was in labor. And it is well known that with the help of cocaine, only the purest, of course, he was able to connect with higher realms.
Higher realms. Of course, it all makes sense. He's just making excuses for the king's habits, isn't he?
So our options are, Herodon helps me connect to higher realms. I drink alcohol and go to heaven. What was that about higher realms? Sounds interesting. Such responsibility requires a boost every now and then. I sometimes need one too. Seems like irresponsible behavior for a monarch. Drug users shouldn't even operate heavy machinery, much less rule countries. Or, thanks for clearing that up. I have some other questions now. We're not gonna confess to being a drug addict in front of Renee. What was that about higher realms? Sounds interesting.
It's really not. Please, do spare us the cocaine fairy tales.
Yes, indeed. We're not here to investigate the drug trade of centuries past.
Right, something else.
Right.
Right, it was drama, my bad. Let's get our drama on. believe there's anything else. Same as for karaoke.
Vigilance officer? What can this old carabiner do for you?
Well, Renee told you his war story. Now impress him with your heroics.
Go long, go deep, go unconventional.
My story doesn't have gunfire, blood, or spilled guts. But let me give you a different take on heroism.
Sure, officer. Let's hear your take.
Imagine just flickering into existence from nothingness.
I'm not following you.
He'll get it. Don't worry. Just continue. He's gonna be impressed.
Imagine knowing nothing but the sweet oblivion, only to wake into unbelievable pain.
The man stares at you, silently frowning. Doesn't look like he's imagining it.
Right when you're willing to do just about anything to make it stop, you open your eyelids.
The carabiner crosses his arms and spits in the crater.
And you realize the man body with you in it is just a husk now. All memories erased.
You're talking about getting blackout shit-faced drunk and going into delirium, right?
He asks impatiently. To be fair, this amnesia has persisted for 4 days now. I don't think it's just delirium.
The lieutenant looks up from his notes and nods to the old carabiner.
I'm talking about so much more than that.
How so, then?
It was a transcendent event. I saw behind the veil.
The lieutenant sighs audibly, but keeps his eyes on the notebook.
And I thought getting my knee shattered and surviving on rat carcasses in the trench was bad. Here, have one of my medals. You've earned it, officer.
Your sarcasm will be your undoing, old man.
Yep, he's being sarcastic. He doesn't buy for a minute either what we're saying or that it's worthy of note. Nevertheless, he said the words and he held out his medal. Thank you, Renee. I'm honored.
The veteran of numerous armed conflicts extends his right arm with the setting sun in his clenched fist and an expression of utter disbelief in his eyes. Flashes of bloody and terrible scenes of war, men dying, horses shrieking, blood sinking into sand and snow and asphalt and fertile black earth. All of this accompanied by a musical composition telling of heroism of old, when men were bigger in both body and heart. You feel strange kinship to this old soldier. You and him are the same now.
Was there something else you wanted to take from us?
The old carabiner stares at you for a moment. Then tension leaves him and he asks,
I don't think there was anything else he wanted, was there? You got the medal. Now let's solve the crime.
Thanks for your time. Let's have a look at it. Managed to snatch this off an old man. He had 2 things left in the world, and we took 50% of them. We get a +1 to rhetoric. It takes the neck slot for some reason. Can't wear a medal and a tie, even though it's down there. A deep blue star sits inside a radiant orange sun. Valiance, the word most often used to describe exceptional valor in combat, is written underneath. Medals like this aren't bought. They are earned. Or snatched, as the case may be. Alright. So, that's a wrap on the old men. So again, while we're still waiting on our die, and therefore our ability to retry the ice cream machine, we're gonna do the cryptid quest. We gotta help the cryptozoologists search for the Insulindian phasmid, and that means checking these traps.
There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morel set before. Same mesh, same wiring.
Look around.
The reeds bend forlornly toward the sand. Some tufts have been crushed. The broken stalks seem like a rebuke. The sound of the city hums in the east. The constant, distant song, louder on this part of the coast, nearer somehow. And there's that cold again. Always the cold.
Reach for the trap.
Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go.
No need to grin. I'm not expecting to find anything. I'm helping some citizens and getting some fresh air. I definitely haven't been looking for the Insulindian phasmid this entire time.
I meant no offense, just...
The lieutenant doesn't know how to finish the sentence. He looks at you, putting the trap back on the ground. Oh, what's this? Ahead, decades-old concrete defenses. Children play on them now. Okay. Let's keep looking. Also, we're gonna go grab a hat that I haven't gotten yet. And do a visual calculus check that I don't believe we've tried yet. The isometric perspective, the inability to change camera angles, sometimes makes it counterintuitive where things actually are. No boat in the boathouse today. This section of the coast hasn't been used in decades. Grab some stuff there. Oversized superstar sunglasses. Let's have a look at them. Is your own stardom too dazzling for your eyes? Can't bear to look at your own fabulous reflection in the mirror? Then these classic oversized sunglasses are for you. +1 to savoir-faire, dazzling reflexes, but -1 to visual calculus. The mirror lies. And there's the trap there.
A familiar apparatus lies among the reeds. Another one of Morel's traps, weighed down by stones to keep it in place.
Look around.
Behind you, a ruined residential building looms over the reeds, shielding them from the wind. They rustle confidentially, in tune with the pitter-patter of the rain. When this district was booming, the reeds were kept at bay. Nothing obscured the freshly painted facades. Nowhere for drunks and adventurous teenagers to hide. Now only the wind blows.
Reach for the trap.
This trap is also full of panicked locusts. No sign of any cryptozoological beast inside.
Another empty trap.
More out of habit than do. Again, I want to make it absolutely clear that I don't really believe the phasmid exists, okay?
Of course. Noted.
He looks at you incredulously as you place the trap back in the reeds. The boathouse is shoddily constructed. A strong breeze might blow it over. I haven't been down here and looted this area yet. Again, we absolutely do not need the money. Ancient paint is peeling off the roof of this shaded bench, covered in rust. Sign says, "Entrée interdite," no entry. An old ticket ticker booth, no longer in operation. People paid money to park here? No one would pay now. Like I said, we're gonna grab that hat, which is up there. First. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The door is not only barred shut, it is inaccessible. And the peephole. Let's have a look at that. +2 to logic. Ultimate peak focus. But a -1 to perception. Eyes on the road. A The small wire framing inside this futuristic-looking found peepo hat gives it the aerodynamic shape of a swoop skier's helmet, but none of its protective qualities. It covers the wearer's ears and eyebrows to bring down the drag coefficient. We've got quite a bit of found gear now. Where are the gloves? Do we not have the gloves in there? Oh, we're already wearing them. Yes, sir. All phone. I don't feel like wearing it. Let's see, what do we feel like wearing? Oh, right, we're gonna do visual calculus. Do we have anything else for visual calculus? I think it's just those glasses. Nope, nope. Might as well put some pants on. Alright, VizCalc, let's go. Four-story incoming.
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other.
Look, Kim, even more bullet holes. Something's definitely gone down here.
Correct. The density of the bullet holes is unusual. Even in a general average bullet hole frequency in Martinez sense. Grim affairs. Meaning, this is a lot of bullet holes. Looks like fully automatic rifle fire. Something you don't see these days.
Why not?
The manufacturing and sale of automatic rifles was curtailed after the revolution. The destructive power of such tools proved to be too much. We do need to retain some humanity in this world.
Why this many bullet holes? And again, this is another check where we only lose on Snake Eyes, because we've seen so many other bullet holes.
A row of ghostly shades stand facing the wall. There are many of them, a dozen at least, their heads lowered and eyes blindfolded. It's quiet. No sound, no movement. 10 meters away, other shades are lined up in an orderly manner, automatic rifles primed. A gust of wind blows by. The coats of the firing squad flap slowly in the breeze. A single person stands on the side. Droplets of rain fall on the wooden planks, the surrounding sand dunes. The clouds block out any rays of light. A long time has passed since the moment of this fusillading. Rain and brine have since washed all the blood away. Not a trace remains.
What is this?
The abundance of bullet holes leads to two options. Either an inordinate amount of executions were performed here, or they did not use a conscience round, where only one soldier has the loaded rifle. Looks like this was a mass execution with everyone fully armed.
Look at the people against the wall.
A host of men, probably in everyday clothes, ragged from the conflict and covered in dust. They were not sitting, a common practice for executions in some nations, as demonstrated by the height level of the bullet holes. They stand, facing the wall. It's impossible to discern any details about their personality or background.
Those were erased. Look at the line of soldiers.
7 men in combat uniforms and dark coats, holding automatic rifles aimed at the people. Soldiers from some side, but from which one?
Look at the person standing on the side.
The commandant, the one who gives the order. Machine gun fire crackling through the air, the lights of the muzzle flashes dancing on his face.
Kim, who was who in this execution?
I don't know. I don't know who died here, lined up beside that horrible wall. It could have been any of the parties involved in the revolution. Perhaps the ones executed here were the loyalist conservatives, killed by the communists at the start of the Civil War. Or it could have been the communists, put to death during the last stretch of the conflict by the coalition forces.
Remember what Trent Heidelstein said about Feld?
What if it was the Feld personnel when their assets were being seized by the revolutionaries?
Another likely scenario.
The lieutenant nods.
Or maybe...
What about people from the coalition? The so-called moralists?
Yeah, it's very unlikely the coalition forces were the ones who died here. They were always the last ones against the wall. To be honest, if a coalition member was anyone in this situation, it was a commandant, the superior giving the orders.
Goodbye.
A cold sea wind blows away the figures.
Alright. Let's keep looking around. We're gonna get these ones last. Can I get to here? Another power box. It charges nothing now. It's empty. Fence blocks the path. No way on from here. Not gonna talk to Trant. We've already exhausted his dialogue, I believe. For now, anyway. There's a box down here that we're only seeing because our perception is up. Pocket change, alright. Bars cover these long, dusty windows. We're going to be trying to make a phone call later. But not now. Right now, we're on a bug hunt. This is basically an excuse to have the player explore everything. Haven't been here yet. Although, this is something that we can see. Let me show you. Save real quick just in case. We're here. This is the little bit, well, no, you can't see it's behind me. Let me hop out of the way real quick. Oh, it's over there, over by the Zaum logo. That is a supply depot. Anyway, we're gonna learn about that in a second. Because now we're seeing it from this side. These rusty gears used to turn the whole machine. The building before you housed the engine. Must have been a big one. The chain trails off into the ocean. Who knows where? This barrel has been recently discarded. It still smells of fuel oil.
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle.
What is this thing anyway?
It's military, a service depot of some sort.
Used to service what?
The washerwoman mentioned a depot up the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay. This might be it.
It may have been used to service an aerostatic battleship in the atmosphere, or a fortification, like a sea fort in the bay.
This huge chain goes across the bay, and there's a giant engine in here that can crank it. Basically, they can use that to send supplies over without sending over a ship. It's very convenient. Not gonna try that red check. Not yet, anyway.
This trap's not too hard to spot, once you know what to look for. Keeping it hidden has not been a priority for the cryptozoologist.
Let's look around.
The reeds sway in the coastal breeze. They seem to be waiting for something.
They seem to be having some sort of rendering error.
The wind picks up here, near the cape's end, surrounding the narrow strip of land from 3 cardinal directions. It's cold for this time of year.
Not a great time of year to be looking for an insect, honestly. You'd think they'd come in the summer. Reach for the trap.
Nothing but locusts in this trap as well. Definitely no cryptozoological monstrosity.
Empty as all of them. One more of these and we are done.
Bummer it wasn't in there.
I'm just glad we haven't found some poor cat trapped in one of these.
Fair point. Leave. While we're up here, we're just gonna grab some stuff. I believe there's a scarf that we haven't gotten yet. Cigarette butts, cleaned away under a rock. Brand, Tio Motori. You take a mental note. Tio Motori. Seems important somehow. Someone's made a campfire here, a long time ago. A rusted, broken control box for the radio relay tower. The ladder is too rusty to climb. The sea air has eaten away at it. And here's the scarf. Gives us a +1 to shivers, but a -2 to physical instrument. +1 to shivers, springtime cold, -2 to physical instrument, allergies. This light springtime scarf smells like men's cologne mixed with cheap laundry detergent. Someone must have left it behind, probably from a date. Wear it if you want to delude yourself that spring has arrived. Tiny inlets there, off in the far distance, where the posts trail towards. This is Land's End. As far north as we can walk. But not as far north as we're gonna go. Spoiler. Well, I mean, the whole game is spoiled, but you know what I mean. Anyway. One more trap to check, and it's the original. Oh, but first, the polo shirt. Oh, I had forgotten this was here. White polo shirt. +1 to rhetoric. What's polo anyway? -1 to empathy. No, really, what the hell is polo? This shirt looks worn and smells a bit. You can't help but wonder, who would leave it stuffed in a tear container? What kind of man would even wear a polo shirt? This might be one of life's mysteries that will never be solved. And now, finally, we return to the cryptozoologist's camp, and we're gonna check that trap. And I'll let you know right now, something different is about to happen.
This is the last of the traps. The one Morel just set. Checking it over, he said, is just a technicality.
Look around.
The reeds by the abandoned campsite hiss and shake. It's good the cryptozoologists left. This isn't a very cozy place to stay night after night. The later it gets, the colder. Remnants of the camp can still be seen in the sand. The fire that's gone out. You feel strange, somehow.
Reach for the trap.
The trap feels light and silent as you pick it up. Something is different here.
Look closer.
No locust. No phasmid either. But still.
It's empty. Morel didn't leave it empty.
Your voice echoes on the coast, carried by a gust of cold wind.
Look closer still.
Well, the bait worked on something. This doesn't mean it was a reed monster, though. Unless you see one in there, I just see an empty trap.
The netting is a little untidy, messier than the others. Like someone or something picked the trap up and shook it before dropping it back down on the ground.
What if it was the phasmid? What if it ate them and then got out?
Right. Anyway, that's for the cryptozoologists to figure out now. We are not cryptozoologists. We are cops.
I like that it says he adds for clarity, as though Harry has forgotten. Although, to be fair, we do a lot of stuff in this game that isn't related to being a cop. Not directly. Although, at the same time, it is inescapable. That was our past, and it determines our present. We may have amnesia, but we don't get to choose what we were, only what we'll be. Let's go talk to Morel. He'd be in here.
Again?
Oh.
I can't believe this shit.
Didn't mean to do that. Although, while I've got your attention, hey, let's talk about the hanged man again.
Okay, why not? Let's do the old thing over again. We're not wasting time. There is no time.
Okay, I'm doing this investigation, and it turns out he was shot and hanged.
You think he was hanged as a cover-up? To hide the shooting?
Basically, yes.
Okay, well...
He corrects his blonde wig. His hair. He corrects his hair. Hey, why am I telling you this?
I don't know. Why are you?
He gives you an odd look.
Oh my god, there's more. You want something more? What is it?
Alright, no, we're not gonna do that esprit de corps check. We're here for morale.
It's great to see you again, officer. My wife can't wait to thank you. Go on, talk to her.
Okay, as you wish, we'll do it in order.
Oh, sweetie, I don't even know how to thank you for finding my husband and helping him out. I hope we haven't been too much trouble for you.
I'm just doing my job, ma'am.
Here, I want to give you a small token of my gratitude. It's a tie, Meskin origin. The pin is an antique, quite special.
The eight-eyed Territorn tie. We're getting a lot of clothes this session.
The little silvery knob holding the tie together feels warm in your hand. It's in the shape of an avian skull with 8 eyes. You could ask her about this when you get the time. It's probably a cryptid, but the phasmid, of course, is more important.
You never told me you've seen the phasmid.
Oh, you don't want to hear about some old woman's ramblings.
Ramblings? Nonsense. Your description of the phasmid is the most precise I've ever heard.
But darling, I didn't even get the size of it right.
Measuring things is important. How did she get the size?
You were a child, my dear. Really. It's extraordinary what you were able to describe. Now go on. Tell our friend about it. He's proven his interest in the field.
Reflexively, the lieutenant read his familiar notebook.
Well, it was summer. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall one. Many times my height, I remember. When, all of a sudden...
Wait, where was this and how old were you?
I'm getting ahead of myself. I was 5.5 in Betancourt in the suburbs. My grandmother had a summer home there.
Betancourt got bombed in the war. It used to be quite near, circa 20 kilometers from here.
What happened?
The strangest moment of my life. I looked up and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. It stood up and looked at me. Its body unfolded like some antique toy. I've never seen anything like it. I didn't know this can happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. It felt just like a stalk of reed, but it moved, swaying, towering above me. After a while, 20 seconds, a minute maybe, it left, went into the reeds.
Did you follow it?
I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there knee-deep in mud, looking around me.
Where did you go? Don't go.
Then what?
I ran back home to my grandmother and asked her if reeds could walk, and told her they were looking at me. Of course, she just laughed at me, but I knew what I'd seen. For years, it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys. That sort of thing. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then I met Morel.
We were on a date. Can you imagine? She tells me a story, and it's the most detailed report of the Insulindian phasmid I've ever heard. The sounds. She told me it hissed.
It did, yes. Like reeds in a gust of wind.
The way it moved, the colour. How some of its limbs were white, like marble. It matched perfectly with what I know from other accounts. It was amazing. If it weren't for Lena, I might have given up hope years ago. It's no exaggeration to say that she restored my faith in my profession.
He looks at her with admiration, forgetting a wide smile on his face. You were on a date?
Our first, yes.
The old woman looks at her husband tenderly.
The glance is tender, yes, but tempered by something else. A thought she can't express, even to him. Interesting.
So, they were on their first date. We know Lena had mentioned that they met because of a dating service. And they immediately formed this connection because of her story. Its limbs are white?
Not all of them. There is some white coloration reported, along with beige, where the camouflage ends.
How big was it?
It's hard to say how big things are when you're quite small yourself. To me, it seemed to be taller than I was then, but that's probably not the case.
What if it is the case?
Maybe you imagined it, Lena?
How could she? Who imagines this? She didn't know about the phasmid. This is the main thing here, what makes it a confirmed sighting. She had no previous knowledge of the insect.
So she couldn't have made it up, or imagined it.
Not necessarily the case.
That's true, yes. I'm almost certain neither my mother nor my grandmother knew of it. It was only when I started telling my story as a teenager that boys would tell me, Lena,
She lowers her voice, imitating a boy.
you trying to tell us you saw the Insulindian phasmid out there in those reeds? Get out of here. They just give me a cider and ruffle my hair and tell me to stop dreaming. But I saw it.
Kim, what do you think of this?
I thought it was a wonderful story, ma'am.
He closes his notes and gives her a simple smile. Thank you for sharing this with me.
You're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate the chance to relive it whenever I get one. It was just such an impossibly sunshiny day. So warm.
That's all for now. Now may I talk to you, sir?
Ha ha! Nothing like the gratitude of a good woman. Now then, what can I do for you?
He gives you a gruff pat on the shoulder, despite the fact that we're standing 2 meters apart. So I checked all the traps.
Good. Okay. And?
And one of them was empty.
Completely empty?
The cryptozoologist's eyes grow wide. Yes, there was nothing in the trap. No locusts, no phasmid.
No locusts? No phasmid either?
That's not ideal, but
He rubs his chin. The empty trap was the one at your campsite. Maybe this factors into it somehow?
I definitely left that one stocked.
Right from the campsite? Just means the Insulindian phasmid is even more clever than we thought.
She's engaging in a well-known self-deception called motivated reasoning. You should correct them.
Of course, more clever.
Yes, the Phantasmadeia picked off the locusts and escaped. This is good news, though we'll have to reconsider the design of the traps, make them more secure.
Another trip to the reeds.
So our options are, yes, that's exactly what it is. What a deft hunter, this phasmid. It's not very scientific to reason backwards from a conclusion you want to be true. Or, I don't know, I'm not persuaded. We're gonna poke him about this.
I appreciate your concern, officer, but please leave this to the experts. Unless you have an alternative hypothesis you'd like to venture. Actually, no. Excuse me for getting emotional. This is a big deal for us. You've helped us twice now, and brought some great news too. My gratitude, and the gratitude of the Société Cryptozoologique de Ravachol, is yours.
Heartfelt gratitude. But does it feel like closure? What really happened? Some kind of foul play might be afoot. Theft?
Thank you, it's an honor. We should probably return to our main investigation here. This has been refreshing, but...
Damn it, Lieutenant. Have you no intellectual curiosity?
That's interfacing. You know what? I don't want to miss this one. I'm gonna get my gloves on.
Hello. Lena and I were
Much
just
better.
discussing the design of the...
Consider the way the empty trap was disturbed, as though shaken. Most likely the hands of a young person. Hands small enough to fit inside the trap, too. You should ask the red-headed boy, Kuno.
I think a little hooligan called Kuno may have stolen the locusts.
A little hooligan? But what would a child want with bags?
Oh, my dear Morel. You've been an old man for too long. Kids love to torment insects almost as much as they love to torment old folks.
I'll talk to the little gremlin, see if anything comes up.
Delinquents. My favorite.
It doesn't sound like it's really his favorite.
Oh, you've been such a dear to us. Please, let us know whatever you turn up. I have a feeling we're getting so close.
Well, I see you've got all the help you need. I'll see you tonight at my place. Let's play suzerainty, but no more field trips for me.
After this is your last chance to talk to Gary.
This is a warning in case you hadn't gotten the whereas yet. But of course we have.
Really, Gary? We're getting somewhere here. I'd love to play suzerainty, but...
Lena, I'm sorry, but you're not getting anywhere. It was some kids. I know the little mutants around here. Leave anything out in the open and they'll steal it, even if it's bugs.
He looks at his tea.
Morel, it's been fun, really, but I need a bath and I have deliveries to handle. When this tea is done, I gotta run.
No need to apologize, Geary. You'd be more than helpful. We'll have to take a rain check on that game of suzerainty today, though. We're gonna follow this through.
He keeps the language unemotional, but it's in there. Disappointment.
I'll get going. You got anything to say to yourself, Gary?
Very generous of you to help us out, officer. I'm sure glad to be back from that little excursion. I mean, officers.
Alright. Can I get that story about the Territorn from
Hello,
you?
sweetie. So nice to see you again.
I'd like to hear about more cryptids.
You know, to hell with it. Let's have more cryptids.
Of course, officers. Is there a particular cryptid you two are interested in learning about?
Is this bird a cryptid? Point to the tie she gave you.
No. It's the cryptid.
Wow. The cryptid?
Oh, yes.
The small silvery skull shines between your fingers, its beak sharp. What is this bird?
The eight-eyed Territorn, the largest flying avian ever discovered, with a wingspan of 11.5 meters. It was thought to have gone extinct 3,500 years ago. Some even doubted the fossils were real. A mutation, they said. Until...
Mutation? All of evolution is a mutation.
Until?
Until it was sighted by renowned Gotvaldian explorer and naturalist Uwe Plattenkalk in 21.
This renown seems a bit dubious. Your own catalogue comes up completely empty. But, of course, you are not all-knowing.
Famous is relative. I need to hear about this sighting.
It happened on a botanical expedition into the vast and unexplored Oamrau Canyon in southeast Ilmara. Dr. Plattenkalk got separated from his group during a sandstorm.
Okay, and Umarau is...
Alone in the blasted desert heat, the doctor wandered eastward, where man hasn't stepped foot in over 1,000 years. since the fall of Pericarnassus. He was lost, without any navigation equipment, and desperately low on water. After a day or two, he noticed a bird high in the noon sky. A great black bird. It seemed gargantuan. Every now and then, the bird would dive down to feed on an animal carcass somewhere on the horizon. But by the time Uva got there, the Teratorn had taken off already, and the carcass was picked clean. This happened many times.
He was following it?
Yes, or rather, hunting. A bird that big has a lot of blood in it, and he was dying of thirst. For many days, Dr. Plottenkalk followed the Teratorn until they reached a great canyon wall where the bird finally landed to rest.
There are a number of problems with this story, of course. But first of all is, if you're dying of thirst, don't walk for days after a possible source of water. And secondly, don't quench your thirst with blood. Blood is kind of salty.
The professor climbed up there with a rock in his hand. He found the bird sleeping with his head tucked under its wing, a great black pile of feathers on the perch. So he approached, slowly squeezing the rock in his fist.
Watch out.
Then the Teratorn suddenly looked at him. He could see it had 8 eyes, 4 on either side of its skull, like a spider. And the man couldn't move. He was paralyzed, frozen into place with the rock in his hand. Whatever he did, he could not get closer to the bird.
Why?
The bird was controlling his mind. It kept him from approaching. He could step back, but every time he stepped forward, paralysis. Uva spent 3 days trying until the bird flew away.
Hold on, how did he survive to tell the story?
The 8-eyed Teratorn was indifferent to him, as long as he didn't get closer than 2 steps. It even let him feed on some carcasses up there, and the 2 unfertilized eggs it left behind.
8-eyed, mind-controlling bird. Fuck yes.
Absolutely, sweetie. Cryptozoologists have been tracing it ever since, but Wamrao is vast, mysterious, and holds many secrets.
Modern radar telemetry shows great promise. We will confirm this one by the end of the decade, latest.
This one I liked. Not only does it have 8 eyes, and is a living fossil, and the largest bird ever to live, it also does mind control.
He's sincere. He likes the audacity of it.
So that was the last anyone saw of it?
Sadly, yes. But there are numerous reports of 8-eyed bird skulls from Il Mara. And then there's the striking resemblance to the Pericarnassian imperial eagle, an ancient heraldic symbol that is hard to pass off as coincidence. The imperial eagle, too, had 8 eyes.
Of course, if you've ever seen a skull of an animal like a T-Rex, you would know that not every hole is actually an eye socket. It's entirely possible that people are finding skulls and misinterpreting what the holes are. It's even more likely that they're finding skulls, drilling holes in them, and selling them to tourists.
Not really. It's just stylization. The way they drew eyes. It's not a zoological drawing.
Very, very hard.
This one's very famous. Everyone knows it. People will be looking at that tie on you and thinking, that man is into cryptids. So, what else do you want to know?
Man, I just can't get enough of these cryptids.
I'm glad you like them, but I'm not really one to tell you about all of them. You should ask my husband if you get the chance. He's the real expert.
Well, that's all for now. Alright, let's have a look at this tie. Gives us Inland Empire and Volition. A slender bolo tie held together by an antique clasp in the shape of a bird skull. The skull features 8 cavities for eyes. It's disturbing, but you can't look away. Alright, let's go bug Kuno, so to speak.
Kuno saw you wield that can. Sweet graffito action, pig. Kuno likes that delinquent shit.
Yeah? You like art, Kuno?
Fuck no, art shit.
He takes a step back. Write in an imaginary notebook. Got it. Art's shit.
That's right, pig. Shit.
I talked to Manana about the armor.
So?
He told me you promised to sick the pigs on him.
Yeah, so? Kuno did sick the pigs on him. Kuno's a man of his word.
Kuno sent your fat ass running around like jello.
Look, pig. Kuno sent you to rough some people up. Kuno played you. That happened. Now you and Kuno should move on.
I will remember this, Kuno.
You got fucked. You got fucked, pig. Fucked bad. Of course you're gonna remember this. Now get the fuck out of here, griefing the Kuno. After this shit, you better have something real interesting to say if you want to stay in Kuno's face.
Yeah, real interesting.
You wouldn't happen to know anything about any missing locusts?
No, Kuno doesn't give a fuck about bugs.
So he knows locusts are bugs.
Oh my god, I told you that shit is lame.
We're gonna see just what Kuno actually thinks about art.
Shut up, see.
Now they're gonna take you to lane prison.
What's this about?
Deny everything, Kuno. You need to lawyer up.
Kuno's not gonna say anything without his lawyer present.
There's definitely something going on here. Remember his pig's head shack? You should check it out.
Kuno doesn't fucking care.
Let's go see. Oh, wait. Sound of melting snow dripping off the roof. It's strange. And this is strange. It's crawling with locusts in here.
All around you, the hisses and chirps of locusts fill the musky air. The earthen floor of the shack has been shaped into mounds of mud, dotted with little holes for windows.
Much like Little Lily, Kuno has been making sandcastles.
Like skyscrapers, spires of dirt and sand rising. Accommodations for their insectoid inhabitants.
Well, Detective, it appears you've solved the case.
The lieutenant looks around, writes something in his notebook, and turns to you.
Of the locusts. For the missing locust case, which is a sub-case of the imaginary insect case. So at least that's going well.
Yes, precisely what I was thinking.
Yes. I feel we are nearing a real breakthrough.
You think the Insulindian phasmid is nearby?
If anything, the presence of the locust points to the opposite. The phasmid did not take the bait from the traps. It was Kuno. The phasmid doesn't exist. But what do I know?
Use your powers of deduction. You knew the magic bug was nowhere near here. The phasmid is impairing your judgment.
We should talk to Kuno about this. Get him to stop.
I'll let you handle the Kuno side of things. You are doing just fine.
You know what? Even though we're not technically all the way optimized for it, I do absolutely want to try that empathy check. Yeah, what the heck? Can I? No. You're gonna do the thing. Game, I'm trying to do drugs. There we go. Let's sneak up on it. Nummy.
Fuck does Kuno care?
We'll get to this later. Right now, empathy. What's going on with this kid?
It's not Kuno.
Nice.
It's Kuno S.
Interesting. How?
Kuno S is by far the worst of the two. Kuno has no problem being near you, but the other hides behind the fence, afraid for her life, like she's done something very bad. She came up with that psychopathic scheme of screaming for help before. Kuno just wanted to talk to you about his name. Kuno S was the one who wound him up and directed him. All in all, Kuno respects madness. You cannot hope to outdo her on that front. You must win yourself a few minutes with him alone.
Kuno,
Fuck you whispering about?
he whispers back.
He's whispering too. He's going with it. But watch what happens.
Fuck you whispering about!
She puts extra stress onto that word, expecting it will make you uncomfortable.
If Kuno wants to whisper, he's gonna fucking whisper, okay? Let's whisper, pig.
This is it. You've got him. But be careful. You can still fuck this up. Don't make Kuno look bad in this.
Fortunately, I know the correct answer. If we happen to say this first option, she's trying to control you, we gotta get you out of here, he will absolutely think that we are trying to separate the two of them. And if that's the case, he shuts down and we can't ask him anything about anything. What's up with her? She's terrifying, crazy, scary.
Crazy? You don't know the half of it. She's not crazy. She's insane, dangerous. She's smoked a man. She's done people in, probably even pigs.
Stop talking to him! Kuno, I'm fucking warning you! You're gonna get us into shit!
She understands what you're trying to do.
Yo, see? Did Kuno not tell ya? Kuno told ya. Kuno talks to whoever he wants. Talk, pig. Kuno's got it under control.
He hunches down again.
You did it. They're separated. He's even turned his back to her so she can't read his lips. Fuck. She can read lips. You should cup your mouth.
What do you mean she smoked someone?
Kuno means she killed someone. That's right. She's a killer. Like, actually a killer.
His little green eyes are fixed on yours. He's meant everything he said before. But right now, he not only means it, he is sincere.
You serious about this killing business?
Killing is serious shit. Kuno's always serious about the 488.
488. The criminal code doesn't go higher than 190.
She's probably killed a pig too. I mean, I'm pretty sure she has.
How many cops has she killed then?
Forget Kuno said that. Kuno was just shitting. Kuno was just running his mouth. Kuno's stupid like that.
He feels eyes on the back of his head and stops.
There's something cold in the air, like water lapping against cold stones, or dripping in a hallway nearby. 3 years ago, there were shoes in the corner. A cop would be too large for her to overpower, but a determined child of her size can still kill the vulnerable, the elderly, the homeless, or other children.
Or literally anyone who is tied up, asleep, or otherwise incapacitated. Or, like, literally anyone if she has a gun. It's physically not that hard. Emotionally, though? Emotionally, it's one of the hardest things you can do.
The creature peers at you both from over the fence. There is something searching in her eyes.
Kuno, do you think it's possible she's killed other children?
Kuno falls silent. He does not look at you when he replies.
Kuno, that's it. That's what Kuno is starting to think, yeah.
He usually looks you straight in the eye. A little something just crumbled there. Don't move your head. Just from the corner of your eye, look at her.
I'm not going to listen to savoir-faire. I'm going to look at Kuno.
The kid is just that now. A kid.
You said she's insane?
Yeah, she's psycho. None of that kiddie psycho. Cat burning shit. She does the real deal.
What's the real deal?
Snuff radio shit. Believe me, Pig, you don't want to know.
Now, because we talked to Neha, we know that there was a snuff radio station. It got shut down. You will note she never mentioned that it was shut down because of police involvement. It was just shut down for some reason. Possibly because their star was either let go or escaped.
And he doesn't even want to think about it. This isn't just another boast.
Now, we don't get the option to pursue this, unfortunately. It's one of those things that I think may have been included in the DLC. One of the big things that I wanted to talk about. So, I'll show you now. Give me a moment. I have a visual aid here. Now, you may have noticed that when we were initially approaching the door up to the north there, we got a note saying a garden hose. This won't be of use until the snow melts. We specifically noted that there's a garden hose there, right next to where we found the hidden key under the rock. And then, immediately past that door that we got in using the smoker on the balcony's hidden key, we found some glasses. The glasses we're still carrying, the auditor. And the auditor sunglasses description specifically says they're favored by organized crime accountants. Let's see if all of that ties together. Is she your sister?
Fuck no, she's not my sister. She's just a stray who got in, like a mad dog or some shit.
Stray?
Yeah, she was just there.
She points at the apartment building behind the fence.
What was that, Kuno?
The little one twists her neck, looking at the building.
She was in the hallway, dripping wet, by the fucking shoe rack, in the dark.
A shoe cupboard just off to the right. Have you been to this place?
That hallway there with the janitor's closet?
Yeah, that's the place. She was just balled up near the closet, psycho style.
Why was she dripping wet?
Kuno's got no fucking idea. Her hair was all wet. I think she pissed on the floor too. She was there for 3 days, in the corner, every time Kuno went out.
You said she got in? How?
I don't know. Someone left the door open. Kuno comes home and she's sleeping under the desk, under a pile of clothes, like a dog.
My personal thought, and I freely admit this could be incorrect, is that she got out from that snuff radio station, went straight to the garden hose to hose herself off. It was literally closer than the ocean. She prioritized it. And when she was hosing herself off, getting all wet, spraying all that water everywhere, she found the hidden key that the smoker on the balcony uses, to get visitors, like his Sunday friend. She got in, huddled up in the corner, and that's where she discarded the glasses. And the glasses were from the people who, up until that point, had been controlling her. This gives us 2 pieces of information. One, we have a timeline. We know that she didn't escape during the winter. Our thought about the garden hose specifically says that it's not of use right now. And the second thing, she wasn't rescued. Or at least, there was no adult with her at the time. Anyway, back to the actual narrative and not my personal projections. So what about your parents?
Kuno's dad doesn't give a shit. Doesn't even see her there. Or thinks it's fucking Kuno. Shit's all on Kuno.
That is why Kuno is the way he is. Well, one of the reasons. His dad is an alcoholic drug addict, and Kuno is taking care of a traumatized little girl all on his own. Much like Cindy, they have to pretend to be hard. They don't have another option. You think she has anything to do with the dead man?
Yeah, she would have liked to fuck him up, but she didn't. Kuno wasn't around, and C was with Kuno.
Where were you?
Look, Kuno's gonna put you at ease. We didn't do it.
He speaks the truth, my liege.
What's that language she uses? Napakumpi? Fagari?
Fuck knows. She says it's the Song of Air People or some shit.
We happen to know that in the real world, or at least the world you're from, the world this game was made in, that's Finnish, which has some sort of analog in the world of Elysium. What people?
Crazy people? The fucking Nakis? I don't know.
It's Suruese. The Suru are an indigenous ethnic minority in the social democratic powerhouse Vasa on the tundra and taiga-covered Isola of Katla. Far, far away from here. As far as possible, really.
Now, we know about Katla because Roy talked about it. Do they have red-haired people there?
You mean evil little red-haired people like her? Yes, they do. The Suruese have that ginger gene.
Kuno, could she be Suruese?
Suruese? Like that man from Helmdall shit? She could be. She could be that Helmdall shit.
This is the other leap of logic that the player can make pretty easily, but that Harry never will. Snuff radio is an audio-only medium, and Kuno S has a very distinctive voice and manner of speaking. She was picked because of her voice. And her accent? She's from Katla. That's where Roy thinks Helmdall is. Allow me to present the girl from Helmdall. Helmdall is a very popular fantasy novel series, after all. And wouldn't people want to hear the girl from Helmdall? Possibly in an improvised narrative, the man from Helmdall's daughter? Killing people? For real? Gotta have a gimmick. Sort of like X-23. You know, Wolverine's kid.
Revelshot does have a small Suruese community, or she climbed into a yakberry crate and was shipped over accidentally.
That's the other thing to consider. Katla is another Isola. If she came over, accidentally or otherwise, in an inter-isolary craft and wasn't properly shielded from the Pale, she probably got real messed up. Consider that we know exposure to the Pale can give you memories that aren't necessarily yours. An adult might be able to contextualize those, but a little girl getting the memories of someone else's adult life beamed into her head? She'd get real messed up. Imagine her being pulled out of a crate, thrashing and screaming in a foreign language, with memories of things like sex and drugs and violence in her head where they don't belong. She'd be a real interesting asset, wouldn't she? How are you dealing with all this?
How's Kuno dealing? Kuno's dealing just fine. He doesn't need you fucking with any of it. C doesn't either. Kuno's got this shit under control.
He spits through the gap in his front teeth. We could say this, but again, it will turn him against us. Kuno doesn't trust authority. And given his relationship with his father, can you blame him? You need backup. I'm here for you.
Listen! See, it's Kuno's go-to. Kuno's protecting her. You fuck with C. You fuck with Kuno. You threaten her. You threaten to take her away.
This is the hard moment.
This is what it all comes down to. He needs you to take him seriously now.
I'm going to kill you. I'll run when you put the cuffs on her, sneak up on you later, and fuck you up. You understand?
The boy looks you in the eye, black pupils trying to focus. It's true. You don't have to be bigger or stronger to kill someone. You just have to have the will to do it. I can respect that.
All right. Now we can do business.
Business?
Yeah? What do you want? Kuno can hook you up with...
He starts no longer whispering.
Don't hook him up with shit, Kuno.
See? Relax. He respects the Kuno. Kuno made him respect the Kuno. You respect the Kuno, you get all kinds of shit. Remember when you tried to get Kuno to hook you up? We can get on that now. If you run a little errand for the Kuno, me and you, Kuno's gonna hook you up with illegal narcotics.
We can get his speed.
See, it's tension and release with Kuno. Now we releasing. The pan buying shit, that's on now too. 90% discount for Kuno's pig. Kuno can flex. Kuno flexes for hobos. Kuno sees you're in need.
He spreads his hands like a baker presenting the goods. A smile spreads across his flushed face. Let's get that matching set.
Here, pig. We're full now. Performance buddies.
Kuno unzips his jacket again and pulls the pants out of the plastic wrapping.
Kuno can already see you soaring through the air like a fucking eagle. Pig's in Kuno's debt now. Money debt?
Money debt doesn't mean anything. He's just saying words. You're not in his debt.
Anyway, here's what we came here for. I know you took the locusts from the traps the cryptozoologist set up.
Yeah. Kuno took the bugs. So what?
So it wasn't the phasmid. A wave of disappointment washes over you.
You say you don't give a fuck about bugs and then you go and build a whole bug town?
It's not Bugtown. It's the city of locusts. Locusts aren't just bug shit. They come out of the sky like a fucking shadow. Shit descends.
Stop!
She wails from behind the fence, then buries her face in her hands.
You stop. It's like their fucking night. Locust City, Night City, City of Rage.
There's a tug of war over the name of his fantastical city. It's almost too big for his imagination.
Like a lot of traumatized, poor people, he seeks refuge in fantasy.
The girl forces herself to watch again, the corners of her eyes twitching from discomfort.
Remember the pig head at his throne? You some kind of artist now?
Maybe I am.
He says, looking you straight in the eye.
Did he just say I? Kuno usually calls Kuno, Kuno.
I hear you right? You just said I?
Kuno made Kuno. Kuno says whatever the fuck he wants. There are no rules here, pig.
He steps closer.
I fucking say I when I wanna, and Kuno when I wanna. Kuno's free. Kuno's free to fucking die, bitch.
This is what he sometimes does when things get tense.
Making art is a worthy calling. I'm something of an artist myself.
Oh my god, Kuno! He's gonna make you totally lame in, like, 3 seconds. Don't let him, Kuno.
Yo, fuck you, see? Kuno can be what Kuno wants to be. Kuno's his own man. Kuno's free.
He tears at the buttons of his shirt, trying to rip them open. They don't give way.
Kuno made himself into Kuno. Kuno can make himself into anything. Kuno can make himself into a pig if he wants. Kuno can make himself into a... Kuno doesn't give a shit.
Kuno cherishes one thing, and it's what limited amount of control he has over himself. You know what? When I was reborn into this body, one of the first things that I did make this ring that's currently on my finger, because I wanted to be female again. I don't use terms like transgender. Arguably, it's debatable. I mean, I was initially born as a girl. But you know what? You have the right to be whatever the hell you want. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise.
Don't make yourself into a pig, Kuno. You'll have to take me away.
A leaden silence fills the yard. You can make yourself whatever you want, but you have to worry about other people.
In it, you hear snow melting, dripping from the eaves. Someone closing a window.
Me and Kuno have discussed this. I promised I wouldn't do that.
I don't believe you.
Fair. She disappears entirely behind the fence.
For once, the boy is lost for words. He turns completely red now, with splotches of white beginning to appear across his face. You got him. Now convince him to leave the cryptozoologist's traps alone.
I'll get to it. I have to ask, what does the City of Locusts mean?
It don't mean anything. It's shit. Kuno just likes to focus. Kuno likes to concentrate on shit. Build shit when he's zipping hard. Fuck.
He turns his burning face up to the falling snow.
Pig, you really shouldn't have fucked with Kuno City. Now it's all fucking lame.
This is, unfortunately, a reality. Sometimes when adults, parents, authority figures, well-meaning, look over what you're working on and say, "Ooh, I like that," all of a sudden, it turns into something not quite as special anymore. I'm sorry, Kuno. I need you to stop taking locusts from the traps. The cryptozoologists are trying to find something very important. Those locusts are bait.
I don't give a shit. I don't need the locusts anyway. Shit is all lame now. C was right.
The girl's face appears again, above the fence, just long enough to make eye contact with Kuno. She doesn't know whether to be glad because Kuno's finally convinced of the lameness, or more worried because of his continued use of the first-person singular. Kuno is Kuno, not I.
What's gonna happen to the locusts?
Kuno's gonna let the fucking locusts die.
Truly, a tragedy. But you know what? You're gonna make new art, Kuno. I believe in you.
The fuck are they trying to catch anyway? With the traps?
The Insulindian phasmid,
He
he mutters to himself.
He recognizes the name.
You know what the Insulindian phasmid is?
Bitches think Kuno doesn't know shit. The fuck out of here. Kuno's tired of this shit.
As you leave, you notice his usual rooster-like swaying posture has changed. Slowed down, like clockwork unwinding. There's silence between the two children. They're not saying anything to each other, nor looking in each other's direction.
Anticlimactic. I'm going to mention, when we shot down the body, one of the options that we got was to point the gun at Kuno X. There is an option to shoot this little girl. That is an instant game over. And it's a unique one. You can lose your hit points, you can lose your morale, but the game does not allow you to keep playing and be the kind of person who killed a child. In the unique game over screen, we learn what her last name is. Or at any rate, the last name that is on record. Kuno S. Vitulanian. Now, Vitu in Finnish means vagina, or more generally, pussy. Or, the way that it's actually used, something more like a compound curse word. The way that you might say unfucking believable. And Lanian? That's like mk or o. It indicates of something, from somewhere. Kuno met Kuno-S, and she gave him the name Kuno-S Vitulanian, and he has rolled with it ever since. For context, imagine if your name was Trevor, and you met a girl and said, "Hi, I'm Trevor, what's your name?" And she said, "Trevorina Vanderfuck." And you just went with it. That is Kuno and Kuno-S's relationship. Well, before we finish off this stream, we might as well check back in with the cryptozoologists. We know what happened to their bugs now. Hi, Morel. Gary's gone home, huh?
Hello, officer. I think I almost have it. A new trap design, that is. I know you're skeptical, but I have a good feeling about this.
I had a chat with this kid, Kuno. He promised to stop stealing the locusts.
So it was just a child.
He purses his lips, crestfallen.
Thank you for telling us, sweetie. This is good news, right? It means we can try again.
Our task is complete.
She acts chipper, but something's changed in her tone. A hidden worry. Something is secretly gnawing at her confidence. It's not this Kuno kid or the missing locusts. It's something else.
Yeah, you're right. We just need to restock the empty trap. Then we'll need to inspect the traps one more time. And then maybe we can.
The aging cryptozoologist breaks into a hideous coughing fit.
He has a 38-degree fever. His resilience has given way.
Darling, I told you to take it easy. You're getting sick. Maybe it's time to go home.
You're right, you're right. We can come back next season, when it's warmer.
That's just something people tell themselves when they fail.
And say, "Man, I'm really feeling this is costing me my time on my main investigation. It's not worth risking your health. You should call it a day and go home. I'd offer to help, but I have my own things to do." Or, "Damn it, maybe I can still restock the trap for you, but we're gonna accept enthusiastically. We've come too far to quit. I'm gonna restock the trap. Let's do this."
We are getting really carried away with this, aren't we? Fine, it's better than having these people get pneumonia on the coast. But after this...
He wants to see this tale through as much as you. Otherwise, he'd have stopped this already. But he cannot let it drag out after this.
Really? It's too much, officer.
He starts coughing again.
What Morel means is we're grateful for your help.
She nods to her husband.
Here's a fresh batch of locusts. They should slide right down the funnel. And thank you again. We will definitely mention you, should this lead to a discovery. I'm not talking co-discovery, of course, but...
I'll get going. Yep. It's not over. Well, perhaps in a way, the search for cryptids is never over. Not really. But this stream is over. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me, and I do appreciate your patience with my technical difficulties earlier. As I said, the fault I thought was on Picarto's end, but it was actually mine. And I will be uploading the aborted stream to YouTube, so you'll be able to see it later. And, yeah, we're gonna keep looking for bugs next week. Revachol is in many ways a scary, disturbing, and sad place. But something beautiful is going to happen. You know, you're just gonna have to trust me on that.